You know, I've lived on this island for a long time, and I have no idea what this place is. I think I ought to go check it out. I've seen that little old lady running around in a golf cart for a long time. I've been wondering what she's up to. My name is Bob. Would you like to come on a tour with me? All right. Hello.
Hi.
Are you Mrs. Jadan?
I'm Doris, yes. Who are you?
Bob Tiz. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Is this your puppy?
Yes.
What's his name?
His name is Pushkin.
After the Black Russian poet.
You got it.
All right. I've always wondered what kind of a museum you have here.
I keep finding out myself every day it's growing, changing, because that's the kind of museum it is. Why? It's about freedom.
It's a freedom museum.
It's a freedom museum.
May I come in and see it?
We're open 24 hours a day.
All right.
Welcome to the Ivan Jadan Museum, sir.
Why, thank you. All right. Oh my goodness. Is this a picture of your late husband?
This is a picture of Ivan Jadan, past, late, and future. Here's his picture also. You met it coming in. This is Ivan Jadan on St. John at age 80.
What does he have on his chest?
He has on his chest a sand dollar. And do you know what a sand dollar is? Do you snorkel here? Do you see anyone around here? I mean, I guess it shows up, does it? Do you see it well?
Yeah.
Okay. He picked it up just extemporaneously after we were swimming. We swam every day in Frank Bay for 40 years. And he put it on his bosom and was making a glorious joke of himself with himself. He said, "This is the Order of the St. John Sand Dollar." Now, an order is a decoration, I guess in most cultures. For Ivan, it was making fun of the order he had been given by Stalin, which he refused to go and pick up 3 times. The Order of the Merited Artist of the Soviet Union. He had no use for that. He wasn't a merited artist of the Soviet Union. For crying out loud, get away from that. He gave it away as soon as he escaped to a woman who was helping. So here it was, the Order of the St. John Sand Dollar. And today we have given several of those orders of the St. John Sand Dollar to people who care about freedom in ways that keep it alive with love and music. So there he is. Okay, that's who it is.
Nice.
That's John.
Where did you meet Ivan?
Where I met him was in Weilheim, Germany. So what does that tell you? Absolutely nothing. But that is the geographical location, yes. And when?
When?
Okay. I'm just asking you. Long before you were born, and I myself was only about 22 or 23, and I met him there in a very strange, mysterious, and dangerous and wonderful situation. And this cannot be described easily because you haven't got time in a short visit of this museum. And that, that's why we have the book. It is a story, really, of miracles, of escape, terror, horror, and unlikely, overflowing, ongoing love. That's how you get free.
How did you arrive in St. John?
We did not have tickets. We got here through more years, miles of history, music, misadventure, but finally we got here. But we first had to get out of the throes of the Soviet police he was at the top of the list of some 3 million by name, Soviet escapees, refugees from the terror of Stalin who were in Europe after World War II. People didn't know that. They still don't know it. But I dealt with that just as much as I could. And with the help of my first husband, through whom I met Ivan. Now this brings up a lot of questions that we couldn't answer even earlier. But the book again, which if you read it, it gives a pretty good account of that. We got to St. John, yes. We got there here we got to St. John in 1955. I met him, back in 47. That's a few years.
Yeah.
And that's a lifetime of things that happened that's worth telling about, not because it was scary, fun, or mystery. It was. But because what we experienced, how we experienced, tells so much not only about one great man. By the way, he was extinguished as a person, a name in the Soviet Union.
So
but he got here.
He's not in the history books?
No. He's in
Why
the
is
history.
that?
This is the first history book that's been written about him. This is
Oh.
it.
But he's not in the Russian history books?
He has, oh, hell no. Hell and high water, no. He has gradually been rediscovered 4 generations after his escape. Imagine, the Russians are very literate, music-loving, Pushkin-loving. They still recite Pushkin through Stalin. But anyone who owned a record of Ivan Jadan following his escape in 41, he was, you have to learn this one word term, vrag narod. Enemy of the,
Vrag Narog.
narod, yes, oh boy, you've got it. Be careful, you don't go there. Don't go that way. He did. He got out. All right, as an enemy of the people, Stalin had the ability, as well as the authority and the desire, to crush him, and he did. I can give one example. Would you like one? Of how someone who's visited this museum, who's now a part of the history of it, a Jewish man whose father, who had collected all of Jadan records, but being a Jew and someone who had Jadan collections, I mean, he was hanging or shot if found with Jadan records after Stalin's abolition in the theater, all photographs, in all of Melodia, the recording people, all Melodia records. Get rid of them. You're found with them, you are a dead duck. And so this man, Shura Tabenik, remembers his father cracking maybe 20 or 30, 78 Melodia recordings of Jadan, the great, most beloved Russian tenor of the whole 20th century, crushing them. And Shura watching in appalled and horrified. Now today, Shura is alive. He too finally got out. But that's why don't find him in the books. After my husband and I went back to the Soviet Union, he said he never would. People say, oh, you're not homesick? You get homesick? Do you ever go home? Where do you come from?
New Hampshire, actually. And no, not really.
Okay. Well, when you go home, it's not that big a problem, is it? I mean, a
No.
lot of people, I mean, it hasn't been that long. And nobody said anything terrible. Have you a terrible reputation? Have you done anything?
I don't even have a parking ticket there, Mrs. Jadan.
And you don't have any criminal record?
I do not.
And you're not an enemy of the people?
There might be some back taxes, but I'm not an enemy of the people.
Good. Well, then you can relate happily to what you didn't have to go through. But
What did your husband